Welcome to lesson number 17 of mastering positional play, mastering positional techniques. And today we're going to be talking about an exciting topic, in my opinion, material. Giving up and taking the material. So let's take a look at the following position. So in terms of giving up the material, of course, let's say you see a checkmate attack, of course you will sacrifice it, but sometimes players have troubles executing sacrifices not for necessarily for checkmate threats, but for positional advantage. And following case, white played rook e1. So they're trying to basically take the e-file, black played rook e8, and now white played rook e6. Sacrificing the rook, now black took it, and let's take a look at this final position. So yes, black are up in exchange, but there are some problems with black's position. First of all, weak d6 pawn, d5 square. White just have a lot more space. Look at this bishop on g7. White got a very solid positional advantage. And in the following case, yes, even though you're down in exchange, you still probably you're not risking to lose this game, but most likely white will end up winning this one. Now let's go and take a look at the next concept. Imbalances versus material. I want to show you this game played between Uyeto, tough to pronounce, and Mayo with black pieces. c4, g6, d4, bishop g7, and now e4. Full control over the center. Goes c5. Immediately challenging the center. Bishop e3, queen b6, knight c3, c takes d4, and now knight d5. I think I've seen this line played before, and in the following case, as opposed to getting, let's say, to queen b2 sharp lines, black decided to sacrifice their queen by playing d takes e3. Knight b6, now what happened was e takes f2, king f2, and now a takes b6. And black got the following position. They're down a queen, but all minor pieces will eventually get out. There's full control over dark squares on this long diagonal. And despite white having this queen, it cannot go anywhere. And yes, the game ended with a black's win. I want to show you queen d2, knight c6, immediately taking it. The d4 square, knight f6, attacking the pawn on e4. And as you might actually see, dark squares play a huge role in black's advantage. Knight e5, knight e4, now takes. And slowly but surely, black were outplaying their opponents. Knight e5, bishop c5. Yeah, just absolutely great game by black pieces. Rook b3, rook e3, c3. And now finally takes some material. And soon, black ended up winning this chess game. All pieces were very well coordinated, and yes, beautiful queen sack. Could have not worked, but you know, black player had some faith in doing it and ended up getting the result he needed. Now let's get to the next examples. Embracing your inner greed, and that's one of the most famous games played in a great match between Boris Spassky and Robert James Fischer. Fischer plays with black pieces. Let's leave the board for us. e5, knight d5, played Alekhine defense. Can you imagine that in the World Chess Championship match? Imagine Romkachess or Dean or Magnus play Alekhine, but that's Fischer. So d takes e5, d takes e5, knight a6, castle, knight c5. And in the following case, black decided to capture a pawn on a4, despite it being probably not one of the best options, but that paid off after, in the final result. Knight a4, rook goes to e1. White created some pressure on the king side, because look, he took the pawn, his pieces are not developed, he should have spent some time going after pawns. Bishop h4, bishop f5, now g4, and Fischer just played some great chess from now on. c5, queen c6, sacrificed the queen, but took it back, of course, and created a pass pawn on the board. And from now on, yes, Spassky tried doing something, but it just didn't help. And also, look at this move. Rook h8. The thing is, Black's position is so good, he's even ready to sacrifice an exchange, because eventually he'll go king e8, king d7, take the pawn d6, pawns will start pushing themselves, will be a win, but nothing helped here. Rook a3 check, rook e8, pawn doesn't really promote, rook h4, e5, creating space for the king to go, rook c3, rook c2, king goes to d7, sacrifice the piece. Yeah, I mean, absolutely insane game by the world champion. c4, takes, h4, h3, nothing helps here. Beefy, promoted, f4, king f4. Yeah, just, you know, just watch and enjoy. Rook d7, f2, and white finally resigned. No way to save this. Let's say rook f4, there's even rook d4, and then king e2, f1, pawn promotes and wins the game for black pieces. Now let's take a look at the next example. There are different openings where a lot of imbalances can occur, and one of this is martial attack in the right low pass. That's actually the line that you know, I faced a couple of times myself with white, so I started playing anti-martial so that I don't actually allow this happening on the board, because you never know, like I might not know some theoretical line and I'll be cooked. Knight f6, castle, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3, and c3. So c3 is the move that exactly allows martial attack. I play a4, which is anti-martial, and generally white have no problems there. While in c3 you have to know a lot of stuff. d5 takes, knight d5, knight f5, white take the pawn on e5, takes, c6, g3. So one of the lines is d4, bishop d6, rook e1, queen h4, gp, queen g4, or queen h3, then bishop g4, and a lot of attacks. g3, knight f6, d4, rook goes to e1, bishop g4, queen goes to d3, c5. Takes, and as you might see, despite black being down a pawn, their pieces are extremely active. They have enough compensation for the pawn taken by white. Knight a3, bishop e3, trading one of the bishops, rook d2, knight c2, rook goes to e8, takes, and yes, it looks like white traded a lot of pieces of the board, but it still doesn't help, as black are very active. The rook is in the second rank, threatening b2, potentially f2. If knight jumps to e4, there could be a lot of potential problems. Bishop f3, bishop goes to c2, knight d6, b3, king f8, a4, knight e4, takes, a takes b5, b4. Rook b2, and soon players agree to a draw. g4, king g7, king f1, king f6, and now rook b2, rook b1 is a draw. King cannot go to d1 because pawn will be taken, and rook b1, rook b2 is just safe enough. Bishop blocks everything here. They're very active. It is a draw. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick lesson. Don't fear taking the material. I know sometimes when you're playing against stronger opponent and you ask me like, okay, I mean, there is a free pawn, I don't want to take it, but try to calculate. Sometimes it's about calculation. Sometimes, of course, if you're playing high rate opponent, taking a pawn might not be the best option because there's like an immediate tactic that you might lose a game, or there is some huge compensation. But don't be afraid of it. Try to calculate better. Try to make sure your pieces are always active. You know, it's not always about material, it's about your piece activity, and you should be good. Let me know any questions you might have in the comment sections. I'll see you in the next lessons. Bye bye.